This is an application called Story Builder. Learners will have some questions asked on a picture and they have to answer them to form a story. There is no right or wrong answer. Instead, learners get to record their answer in their own voice, which will then get stitched all together and played as a continuous story. Now this is the setup screen where you can select the desired level of play and then a number of visual cues which can be switched on and off depending on how much visual help you want to have on the screen. So if we move now to the play screen, you'll have a picture.
Where are the men?
With a question on the top, and then you'll have the first few words of a potential answer to just get the learner started. However, this is optional and can be removed from the setup screen depending on your learner's level. So if we hit the record button now, the men are trying to get some help. Then you can play your answer back to check if you want to keep this answer or just record another answer again. So we'll hit next question.
What are they going to do?
They are going to hop on the helicopter.
Why is there a helicopter?
The helicopter is there to help them.
What will the helicopter do next?
The helicopter will pull out a ladder. The men are trying to get some help. They are going to hop on the helicopter. The helicopter is there to help them. The helicopter will pull out a ladder. So then after that you can save your story here under any name you want, for example. And that's it.
So the class will consist of 12 students of a very young age, around 6 years old, and these 12 learners will form pairs, and 2 pairs each will be designated A, B, and C. They will make use of the iPads in the classrooms, which are loaded with the Story Builder app, and the students will be given some time to interact with this app in their respective pairs, recording the voices in alternate turns, creating stories in response to the prompts. Once completed, the pairs will pass along their iPads, so A to B, B to C, and C to A. Then they will be given time to listen to the stories and evaluate them, making notes. And this will give them a good opportunity for them to provide peer feedback on each other's errors later. The teacher will play each story in front of the class, asking students for their opinions on the story and if they had noted any interesting language points or errors. The teacher can then give more specific feedback by identifying any points or areas for improvement in the stories. At the end, once the stories have all been presented, the teacher will hold a vote via show of hands for what the students thought was the best story.
Using games can help students enhance their communication skills in general. Communication is the core of games. In a friendly, competitive environment, students will become less afraid of making mistakes or reframing their own thoughts. In this application Story Builder, students work in pairs. They need to negotiate with each other about the whole story, which will provide their opportunities to interact with each other and will improve their communication skills. In this activity, students also don't need to be afraid of making grammar mistakes. The purpose for this activity is to convey the meaning instead of paying attention to the accuracy. The story they made from their pair work can stimulate the real-life situations. Students have the freedom to express their own idea. Speaking is an essential part during the process of secondary language acquisition. Putting students into smaller groups is a good way for them to collaborate with each other. For some quiet and shy students will feel more comfortable and natural in group discussion, since it can intimidating for them to produce a story and speak them out loud in front of the whole class. This helps students improve their communication skills and benefit both of the students involved.
The main objective of the app is the user creating sentences and stories, which they then record, and so offers ample opportunities for learners to produce the spoken form of the target language. It is useful in how it provides prompts for different situations, which can elicit a more natural and spontaneous spoken response from the user. A drawback to this method, though, is that it does not specifically encourage learners to engage in conversational interactions, and so the language interaction becomes a one-way process. The images in the app feature predominantly white characters, which cannot be said to be representative of the English-speaking world. Aside from it, though, the interface is very easy to navigate, especially for young users. The app offers learners a certain level of scaffolding with prompts that can be switched on and off. This allows for some useful guidance when students are stuck for something to say in response to the images. In terms of engagement, this app could be considered fairly limited, though there are many images. The text itself producing stories does not vary much, and may not be stimulating in the long term for learners seeking new challenges. This app can be very useful for interaction and sharing work. It allows users to exchange and listen to each other's stories, which could give students motivation to be more creative with their stories and use of English, and allow for a level of peer feedback.
First of all, we can see that the Story Builder app offers plenty of opportunities for learners to produce output, which includes the complexity of language by means of lexical choice, grammar, and phonetics. It may also encourage learners to use language as chunks. Another notable feature of this app is that it allows users to select different levels of difficulty, so that teachers could be more flexible to adapt the complexity of teaching and learning based on learners' levels and needs. Also, it's obvious that there is interaction between learners, since they are supposed to provide peer feedback on other stories. This could not only improve their communicative skills, but also stimulate their cognitive engagement when evaluating other stories. However, one of the major problems of this app is that learners are provided limited opportunities to notice language features because it's a productive task. Also, the app won't be able to be used in a flipped classroom because it doesn't offer feedback due to that there are no right or wrong answers. In addition, the app must be purchased, and that means learners may not be able to access it at home.